Good afternoon. During the declared emergency, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever properties to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, as Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB, in the event of an appeal, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed in the agenda. In making your submissions, where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. Where the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark. When addressing the committee, please start off by clearly stating your name for the record and your address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent goes first and will make the presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if being substantially revised in order to ensure the application is both accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application have been informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent is given an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. That will then mark the end of the discussion on the matter. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Do any of the panel or staff have any conflicts of interest to declare on the matters before us at the 1 o'clock agenda? Okay, none to declare. In that case, we can start off with the first item of the afternoon, item number 18, 22 FARNSWORTH Drive. This is an application It's to construct a 2-story south side addition, which will contain an attached garage, a 2-story rear addition, a 2nd-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new front porch, and a new rear deck. There are 5 variances, and all we have on this are conditions of approval from Transportation Services to make some revisions to the site plan. Speaker on this application is Gabe Ferroni.
I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Mr.
Can you hear me?
Ferroni, I don't think we need a presentation on this application. Is there anything you'd like to let the committee know?
I've had a look at that transportation report, and I agree with transportation. So we've gone back to the original width of the garage, and I believe in doing so, that may get rid of that number 2 variance, I think driveway width. So I have no issues with that.
So does that change the variance? Any of the variances?
Yes, it does. Let me just have a look at it here. Yeah, so the maximum permitted driveway width in this case is 3.3. We were trying for 6. So it pretty much gets rid of that driveway width because we're going back to the original driveway, which is 3.3 meters wide.
Okay, so basically variance 5 is to be eliminated or withdrawn.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to advise, or let's see if committee members have any questions for you?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferroni. Any questions for Mr. Ferroni? And if no questions, is anyone ready to weigh in with a motion?
Danny Bellissimo is ready to make a motion. Based on the fact that the applicant has said that item 5 is no longer active, I would move conditional forestry and transportation. Sorry, I have to ask a question. Sorry. Is the transportation condition still applicable then if 5 is removed? No. Okay, so that's my understanding. If everyone agrees with that, then it'll be conditional and forestry only and approval of the variances 1, 2, 3, and 4. Find the variances are minor in nature.
Thank you. Seconded for Mr. Bellissimo's motion. Mr. Taylor, thank you. All in favor? You have unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Ferroni, and don't go away because I see you're the agent on the next application. So that is item number 1941 Ranwood Drive. And this is application for a 2-story south side addition to contain an attached garage and a 1-story rear addition. There are 2 variances, and I think we have revised plans that don't affect the variances. Anything you'd like to advise the committee? I see you have a presentation.
Variance number 2 was revised. On advice from the planner, he had requested if we could reduce the coverage to 34%. This is why you've got the revised drawing. So we've gone from 34.6, variance number 1, coverage.
Right.
We've gone from 36.4 to 34%, as per the planner's request.
Okay, and what is that as expressed in square meters?
Square meters, I'd have to open up my drawings. Give me a second.
And while you're looking for that, I see you've included a presentation of various photographs and your revised plan.
Yeah. So that would be, I believe, here on my site plan, I'm showing 197 square meters building area.
Okay, which is 34%.
Yeah, which gives me 30, just under 33.94%. Let's say 34% coverage.
Okay. Does the recording secretary have that? Those numbers? Okay. Committee members, any questions for Mr. Ferroni on this one? And if no questions, is someone ready to weigh in with the motion? Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I find the variances to be in keeping with the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And I move for approval subject to an amendment to variance 1 so that the lot coverage would be 34% or 197 meters squared. And there would be no conditions.
Okay, thank you. Seconded for Mr.
Can
Taylor.
Danny Bellissimo, I just want to clarify, meters square and square meters are different, so I think it has to be square meters.
All right.
Meter square using 197 by 197, just to clarify that.
Thanks for that clarification, Danny.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, are you seconding that along with that, or? Okay, Ms. Alderson, I guess you had your hand up.
Sure, I would second that.
All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Ferroni. We'll see you again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, our next application is item 2150 AILEEN Avenue. We have a revised yellow sheet, if perhaps staff can put that up on the board, along with the waiver, revised application sheet showing changes that have been made. It looks like one of the two variances has been eliminated, so we're left with one variance. We have copies of previous decisions, and I believe we have a condition of approval from community planning. Okay. The speaker on this is Jace. Was supposed
Yes,
to be Mr.
yes, Mr. Chair and the committee members. My name is Jace for 150 AILEEN Avenue. Thank you for the opportunity to talk on behalf of this. So we only have one variance, which is the exterior stairs that is allowed is 2 meters, and we are proposed to 2.44 meter wide, which is only 0.44 meters than the allowable one. So we are requesting this variance to be eliminated, which is minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and you've seen the condition being requested from community planning?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The condition being requested from the community planning department, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Regarding the backfill area of the basement and rear steps and removal of the shed, they want that tied to plans in some. Committee members, any questions for the agent? And if not, is someone ready to bring a motion?
Mr. Chair, I find the variance requested to be minor in nature, so I move approval of the revised proposal, subject to the community planning department condition.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Danny Bellissimo seconds.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, you have unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and all the committee members.
Okay, the next item is item number 2159 BRAYWIN Drive. Okay, this matter is being deferred. We have a request for deferral from the agent, Mr. Perez. And there's a deferral request, a clarification of that. Good afternoon, Mr. Perez.
Well, good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. This is Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owners. Yeah, the client would like to defer because they're expecting and they want to wait a few months before they come back before the committee.
Okay. So I guess the matter would be put in abeyance, not, indefinitely, because they don't like to keep open files, but you can deal with staff on that matter.
Yeah, I'll do so.
Okay, and good luck to your homeowners. Committee
Okay,
members,
thank you.
motion to defer.
Danny Bellissimo moves with deferral.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Laura. All in favor? Okay, the matter is deferred.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Our next application is item number 221118 Kipling Avenue. And this is to construct a one-story front addition, which will include an attached garage. A two-story front addition will be to be cantilevered over the front porch, and there are 14 variances, or there were 14 variances. There now appear to be 6. We have a yellow highlighted revision sheet, which we could, in the supplemental materials, which could perhaps be put on the board. And as well, I believe in the supplemental, the neighbor at 11116 is in support. Planning is looking for a condition of approval, and TRCA has no objection. And we are a revised transportation report. Again, the speaker is Tom Besai, the agent. Mr. Besai?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay,
can hear you.
great. Okay.
Go ahead.
So would you like me to make my presentation? Yeah,
Why don't you make a short presentation then?
a brief presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Just to review the
the
changes
prop
and everything. Yeah.
okay. And there's an updated transportation report as well, dated from July 22nd. So that's the current transportation report. So you know the purpose of the application. The location of this property is just north of Burnhamthorpe on the west side of Kipling, just adjacent to the Mimico Ravine. So I would just first want to comment that the proposal has benefited from extensive feedback from across all the agencies and departments in this area. So TRCA and RNFP, we work closely with both of the agents on both those fronts. And we have a letter of approval from Daniel Pina, TRCA, and we've had stated acceptance of the project by the RNFP representative, Will Zhu. So on the other front, zoning, community planning, and transportation, we consulted at length on this difficult site with Chen Lin, who's the zoning examiner, as well had some very good feedback from Bram Bulger, who's the community planner, and his feedback was instrumental in getting us a scheme that has these fewer variances. And finally, we've had recent dialogue with Ashmead Mohammed from transportation, and he has given his input and seems to be content with the positioning that we're taking on the project. Just to maybe briefly address the variances, and I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. Items 2 and 3 refer to the overall proposed lot coverage, so the variances 2 and 3, and the FSI. Due to TRCA requirements, our lot area is constrained to the area above the long-term stable top of slope, which is about 1/3 of the overall lot area. So this constraint sort of skews both the lot coverage and the FSI ratios. So the actual site coverage and building area are really modest in comparison to other properties and developments, residential developments in this area. So that's items 2 and 3. Items 4 and 5 identify requested variance for front yard setback based upon, as well as side yard setback, but the principal one is the front yard setback. So the required 15-meter setback is derived from the position of the neighboring house to the south, 1116 Kipling, who's submitted that letter of support that you mentioned. So this number is very restrictive in this case, as the subject property's buildable tableland is severely cut off on the west by Mimico Creek Ravine and the Echo Valley Park. So I've included a diagram in my letter, and I'm not sure if you could bring it up, but the diagram just compares the zoning envelope on the one hand with the requirements as far as the buildable area from TRCA.
Yeah, that's in the cover
I'm
letter.
not, yeah, in the
Get
covering
cover
letter.
up, yeah.
If you don't mind, but the point about that is it just shows that there's a fairly severe front yard setback requirement from zoning on the one hand, but then there's also this quite serious 10-meter offset from the long-term stable line of slope coming from the west,
Sorry,
which really
excuse me.
leaves us at.
Can we get that up on the screen?
Sorry.
Thanks.
Oh,
It's
can I get it up?
It's the
Yeah,
cover
you
letter.
got it.
No, staff is doing it. It's the cover letter.
Yeah.
Drawing attached
Yeah.
to the cover.
Sure if that's. Yeah.
Next page. Scroll down. No, the same attachment. I think the same.
Yeah, I uploaded it. It's called covering letter. It should be in there.
Yeah,
There it
it's
is. There it
the
is.
second page.
Yeah. If you pull into that diagram, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There we go.
Up a little bit.
Okay, so the Kipling is on the right-hand side of this diagram, and then the property. So the front yard setback, and then thus the buildable area from the zoning perspective is that large rectangle towards the middle of the site. And then, as you guys are familiar, there's a long-term stable top of slope derived by our geotech as well as approved by TRCA. The offset line of that diagonal line, which is the stable top of slope, leaves a small triangular shape on the right-hand side of the front of the site, well within our front yard setback. That's the allowable buildable area from TRCA's perspective. And you can see that the existing house is sort of resting in between those two limiting conditions. So our first objective was really to kind of respect the TRCA requirements. So we were building nowhere near the western side of the site, but rather our only development area was really on the right-hand side of this drawing or within the front yard setback. So that sort of explains to some extent the choices that we made and then this particular variance we're requesting for front yard setback. So whereas 15-meter setback is very restrictive, we had a scheme where we had a very narrow front yard setback of about 0.4 meters. BRAM found that that was just too much of an ask on our part, and so we reconfigured a scheme that allowed us to get the car in the kind of in the building attached garage setback significantly. So we got to about 4.3 meters of setback. So that sort of explains, those were some of the driving factors in the design for this project. If I might just continue very briefly, there's a couple of other items. Item 6 refers to a variance for driveway width. Transportation has given us some direction, and so we're going to take a big chunk out of our driveway width with it, which is in fact the existing position of the driveway, in order to make a walking path. So we'll be at 4.8 meters approximately, or sorry, we're at 4.8 now. We're going to be just over the required width, and it is in those drawings. They weren't included in this committee flight of materials, but that is has been proven, and transportation has implicitly accepted that is possible, and we have shown it. And finally, sorry, I'm almost done.
Yeah, you can wrap up. You're over 5 minutes.
Yeah, very last, the overall height of the building, we've respected the 9.5 meter, but our top of the flat wall leading into the hip roof is 5.5 meters above the minimum requirements. So those are our variances in a nutshell, as per that letter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Basai. Any questions from Mr. Basai, or is anyone prepared to weigh in with a motion?
I have a question, Stan. Just wanted to confirm, transportation had set out 6 conditions. They're dated
Yes.
July 22nd.
Yes.
I believe you've addressed those, so you have no issue with them if we attach that as a condition.
No problem. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, or is someone ready to try a motion?
I'll take a stab if no one else wants to. I'll recommend approval based on it meeting the 4 tests and the intent of the zoning bylaw. I would like to tie some conditions to it. One would be the transportation conditions set out on July 22nd, 2021. And also to tie to the planning condition as outlined with regards to the plans as of July 21st, 2021, which I believe there's bird friendly and another condition there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Komorik. Seconder for that motion. Mr. Taylor, thank you. All in favor? Okay, you have unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Basai.
Thank you very much, committee.
Okay, our next application is item number 23, 188 Aldercrest Road. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. A previous committee of adjustment file back in October 2020 approved variances relating to lot area, gross floor area, height, platform area, and driveway width. There are now 4 new variances. We have photos. We have a copy of the previous decision. We have a petition in support, and planning is requesting that we either refuse or modify the approval to modify 2 of the variances. So the agent on this is Chris Marchese.
Yes, hello, Mr. Chair and fellow committee members. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. So
I'll be happy to give
2020, you have 4 new variances. Please explain, and also explain the whether or not you agree with the planning recommendation.
Yeah, just first and foremost, I was not the planner that was on file in the original application. This is a redesign with new owners who have come forward with a new application that meets their family needs. Just to get started, I reviewed the city staff report, and although I respect their opinion, the reason they are asking for refusal or modification is due to a 3-story dwelling. And I would like to make it clear to the committee members that there's no variance associated with the number of stories being proposed to this application, and that this neighborhood is in serious transition from existing bungalows to 2- and 3-story redesigned dwellings. I've added some photos in my cover letter along ALDERCREST to show 2 stories existing above integral garages. But through a site visit, there could have been dozens and dozens of other photos added to this package, just to get some context of the characteristics. In regards to variance 1 pertaining to the FSI, there have been 147 approvals over the last 10 years for an FSI increase to this site-specific bylaw, with an average FSI of 0.65 the area of the lot, which is larger than what is being proposed to this application at 0.62 times the area of the lot. The permitted dwelling size at 0.4 times the area of the lot is approximately only 1,600 square feet, which is less desirable for a detached dwelling. The proposed dwelling is modest in size at 232 square meters or 2,500 square feet and is consistent with recent redevelopment throughout the neighborhood. Notwithstanding that the proposed FSI is below the approved numerical cover letter, the resulting massing of this proposal is consistent with the recent redeveloped dwellings that appear to be 3 stories in height with 2 stories above the existing integral garages. In regards to variance number 2 pertaining to the height of the proposed dwelling, the site-specific bylaw has once again had numerous variances approved to increase the permitted height throughout the neighborhood. There have been 119 variances approved to the site-specific bylaw to allow an increased height with an average of 8.53, which is just 7 centimeters less than what is being proposed through this application. The resulting massing and built form is which can be seen throughout the photos in Appendix A. Furthermore, the overall height performance.
Chris, can you just
You
back
have
up?
been cutting in and out. I can't hear.
We lost you for
I
about 20
apologize.
seconds.
Sorry about that.
You can back up a little bit.
Yep. So just in regards to the height, we're proposing 7 centimeters over the average of 119 variances that have been approved over the last 10 years. And the resulting massing and built form is designed in a manner which is compatible with the redevelopment trends throughout this neighborhood, which can be seen through the photos that were submitted in Appendix A of the cover letter. Variants 3 and 4 relate to the permitted soffit height for a dwelling as well as the side exterior main wall. The intent of these performance standards is to further regulate the massing to ensure consistency throughout the neighborhood as well as help control the overall living space within the dwellings. It is important to note that there is no variance required for front exterior main wall as it is compliant with the bylaw performance standard. The proposed ceiling heights are a modest 8 feet 6 inches on the main floor and 8 feet on the second floor, and there are many existing dwellings within close proximity to the subject property where a variance was requested and approved for soffit height greater than what is being proposed to this application, as well as a variance for the front main wall, which has a larger impact on the massing from Aldercrest Road. This further demonstrates that the proposed massing is existing in large quantities throughout the neighborhood and that the proposed dwelling is compatible with both the existing and planned context for this neighborhood. Based on this information, we are of the opinion that the application proposed on the subject property known as 188 Aldercrest Road meets the Ford test under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, and the resulting dwelling is in keeping with the existing and planned characteristics along Aldercrest Road and fits in harmoniously with the rest of the neighborhood. If there are any questions regarding the above, I would be happy to answer them at this time, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marchese. I also didn't mention there's a couple of petitions of support, a couple of pages attached. I must admit I didn't add up as to see how many. Maybe you know, and also whether it includes the most adjacent neighbors on either side, in front and behind, on those out of those names. Other than that, I'll just see if committee members have any questions for you.
Danny Bellissimo has questions. One question to the applicant. You're aware of the staff report from planning?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I am, and I have no ill will towards 16 centimeters of reduction or 6 inches. In my opinion, it's not something that's necessary or going to impact this proposal any which way, but open for conversation on that. Preferably, I think that the request as is fine, but open to hear committee's thoughts on that as well.
So you're aware not only they're recommending refusal, then they're recommending if not refused that we just reduce them by a few inches. So you're aware of the wording of that. Mr. Chair, I'm ready to make a motion if there are no further questions by the members.
Members, any other questions? Yeah, and Mr. Marchese did address that in his presentation. So go ahead, Mr. Bellissimo, if no one else has any questions.
Yeah, I find that the recommendations from planning are just in inches and really don't have any impact on such a large building. I find the building is very compact in nature. I find that the variances are minor in nature and move for approval. Conditional on forestry, is forestry condition there? Thank you.
There's no forestry condition, I don't believe, through you, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Oh,
you. Mr.
sorry.
Kozolnik.
I have
No,
noted, there is a city tree in the front boulevard, so I would suggest there is a forestry condition, or I would second it with that condition.
Yeah, there is a forestry condition, number one.
There is forestry, so that would be my recommendation, the forestry condition.
Okay, seems everyone has that consensus. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Marchese.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application is 8 Treeview Drive, and I believe that was on our, there's a deferral request on that, that was in our consolidated memo. This applicant is Matthew Panzik, and I don't, perhaps we can hear on record what the nature of the deferral request is.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Pinechik. I'm the owner of TREEVIEW. We're requesting a deferral to allow us to address planning comments, which will take shape in a new build versus a reno. So we just need a couple of weeks with the architect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the owner, or is someone ready to make a motion of deferral?
I'm happy to make a motion for deferral.
Okay, seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamarick. All in favor? Okay, matter is deferred.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Okay, next application is item number 25, 26 Florida Crescent. And this is an application to widen the existing driveway, and there's one variance, the altered driveway width. And we have in the supplemental materials transportation conditions of approval, and we have no objection to 23 Hibiscus. Speaker is the owner, Lucy Musa.
Yes. Good afternoon. My
Good
name is
afternoon.
Lucia Musa, and I'm the owner of 26 Florida Crescent.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to, I see you have some support, otherwise we have nothing on file, no comments from any city departments.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, we have support. Do we have anything from city departments? I don't know about.
I think just comments from transportation and the added materials.
Oh yeah, actually I did say that at the outset. My bad. Okay, yeah, we do have transportation comments. So ma'am, are you aware of the transportation comments? And the conditions they wish to impose?
No.
Okay, perhaps could we get that up on the screen, Nicole? It's in the supplemental. Yeah, it's in our late arriving materials. We just received it yesterday, ma'am, so it might have not been up on the website for you to check. I don't know when the last time you checked that. But we did get some last minute comments from the transportation department. Maybe you can, blow it up a little bit, because I certainly can't see it from here. Okay, so transportation is requesting those 4 conditions. And it says, you want me to read it out to you?
Yes, please.
You want to blow it up a little more? I didn't bring my binoculars. The site plan shall be revised such that the proposed driveway with an excess of the existing driveway width of 3.4 meters shall be designated as a walkway, which shall be to the side of the driveway adjacent to the entrance of the dwelling. Number 2, the site plan shall be revised to illustrate the portion of the driveway within the municipal right-of-way, i.e. between the front lot line and the street. Number 3, the site plan must be revised to include a title and drawing date. And the site plan must be revised to include the following notation. Any new driveway shall be designed and constructed to the applicable city design standards. So they're just asking those 4 things. If whoever's helping you put through this application, you have to change your materials to show those 4 items.
Okay, it was someone actually helping me. It was Andre Hanna. He was the one helping me. And I want just to like widen my driveway. I set like 4.9 meters. And there is a tree there. And I will do whatever the law says. I'm gonna be like 4 feet like away from the tree. I don't want to, like just only to fit 2 cars in my driveway. That's all.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I don't want, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and the reason is I don't want to block the street for the removal, like a snow removal truck, or for the like a garbage truck. And by the time actually my both sons got a ticket too. That's the reason I want to widen it my like a driveway, just to fit 2 cars in. But right now we have 4 cars.
Okay, thank you. So,
Thank
committee
you.
members, I don't have in front, do we have a forestry conditional on this application?
Yes, there's a city tree.
Okay, so ma'am, the tree will be, there'll be a condition imposed with regarding protection of the tree. And as well, these 4 conditions I just read out to you, whoever's helping you will change your site plan to deal with those, to comply with that. If the committee sees fit to impose those 4 conditions, which I assume they will. Okay?
Okay. How are you gonna get that email, like the letter, you're gonna send it to me, or?
Yeah, you can find it on
You
the
will
city
email it?
website. You can find it on the materials posted. Okay,
Okay.
committee members, any questions
Okay.
for the property owner? Or if not, is someone ready to weigh in with a motion?
Any business would like to make a motion for approval? I find that variance is a minor in nature, subject to transportation conditions and forestry conditions.
Thank you. Seconded for Mr. Bellissimo's motion. Mr. Merrick, thank you. All in favor? Okay, you have unanimous approval, ma'am. Subject to the appeal period, you can go ahead with your new driveway.
I'm sorry?
I said you have approval.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy your new
Well,
driveway.
thank you. Thank you so much. I will just like to appreciate. I thank you guys for your time, your patience, and for everything. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Okay, our next application is item number 26, 203 Edenbridge Drive. It's an application for a new detached dwelling with an attached garage, and there are 8 variances. We have a revised zoning review. We have the revised notice sheet in yellow, which perhaps we can get up on the screen. That's in the supplemental materials. There were 8 variances, and I believe there's 7, and a revised FSI. Okay. And we have also a copy of the sign posting and comments from Ravines. Okay. The applicant, the agent is Gianni Regina.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm present.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, committee members, would you like a short presentation on this application? Just to go through some changes, or actually, you can just make that a little larger. So you've eliminated variances and you've reduced your FSI.
Correct, Mr. Chair. Just a bit of back history.
Yeah, was that in response to community planning's comments? Can you just put that in context for us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if I can give you a bit of a background. So those 2 variants were changed through the planner contacting me and asking for a reduction to 55% and to eliminate the front yard setback. So both of those go hand in hand, Mr. Chair, from the fact that the way the properties is skewed at the front. So the way it was read, because of the average of the skew, it was over in terms of building length, which really wasn't the case if it was a regular property with a 90-degree angle at the front lot line. So they're hand in hand because in reducing the building length, it automatically reduced the FSI to 55%. So we were happy to do that and move forward with it if the planner was happy with that as well. And my understanding is he was satisfied.
Okay. let's see, what does ravine say? I guess there's urban forestry condition here. What about this? I think ravines is okay. This property is on a ravine.
Sorry, you're asking the question. Sorry. So that property is based on the ravine, based on the slope. Originally, they thought it was part of the TRC, which it's not. But the fact that there's it's a slope property. The property directly behind it basically drops 1.1 meter. It's an existing condition. There were some trees, but we'll satisfy whatever we have to satisfy. Everything there is existing. We don't plan on touching the rear of the property or changing the impact of the water runoffs. So, if there's anything we need to do, we'll make sure that it happens.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the agent? Mr. Taylor?
Sorry, not really a question of the agent, maybe one to staff. There's a conflict from urban forestry in their consolidated memo. They requested condition 3. That memo is dated July 22nd, and we have a July 20th memo from them requesting condition 1. I think we've had this issue before, and the feeling was that we go with the most recent correspondence. So that would be urban forestry condition 3. Is that right?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have condition 1 from ravine and natural features protection. That's a separate matter because they deal with properties within the designated ravines. Even though they're part of urban forestry, they deal with a different subject matter, different trees under a different bylaw. And then street trees and private trees are your standard everyday memo that we get with the 5 check marks.
Okay.
Okay, just for point of clarification, from what I can see on Google, there is a large city tree in front of the property. So that would indicate to me condition 1.
Are we saying we're having both? We have a condition from urban forestry, and then separately we have another condition from ravines and natural protection features, or whatever they're called. So you're both right. There is a city tree issue, and there's also the condition from ravines. Is that what Mr. Carvalino? Is that what you're saying?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is a condition from ravine and natural features protection, which is on the screen now. It's their requirement for their process. And from urban forestry, the consolidated memo, I believe they're requesting condition 3. So that would be where there's no tree, they would be required to provide the fees to plant.
Cash in lieu.
Yes.
I don't know why they're asking for that, quite frankly. Because there is a tree.
Mr. Chair, through you, the proposed new dwelling is going to be in line with the existing dwelling where there's no impact on that tree from our foundation, let's call it. We plan on creating protection. If it's just a application and a process that needs to be done, I'll leave that up to you, but we're more than comfortable to do that as well.
I don't know if it's a question for staff, but I'm just trying to understand what the criteria is for urban forestry to ask for condition 3. Because in my mind, that's when we're not protecting any other trees because there are none, then we're doing cash in lieu. But in this case, we are trying to protect some existing trees.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can't put myself in the shoes of urban forestry. We just provide information to the committee.
I'm prepared to take a shot at a motion if no one else has any other questions or solutions to our quagmires.
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. So I would like to move approval based on this meeting the 4 tests to the revised proposal and to add the urban forestry condition 1 of preserving the city tree in the front. And I'm going to leave it at that.
So no ravine condition?
Well, the ravine condition is cash in lieu. Are they asking for anything else?
Mr. Carvalino?
Mr. Chair, there seems to be
Actually, the
sorry,
ravine-
through you, Mr. Chair, there seems to be some confusion. It's ravine and natural features protection that's asking for their condition number 1. That's what was on the screen. And staff is bringing it up now. If you can highlight it and scroll up to what that condition is, that is what they're asking the committee to impose as a condition for this this proposal. The tree request from urban forestry is condition 3. That is the where there is no city tree that they pay cash in lieu. And staff is bringing up the standard consolidated response. If you can highlight that, Nicole, and you can see that for this item 26, it's that's being highlighted. That's what they're asking the committee to impose as a condition. So it's condition number 1 for ravine and natural features protection, and condition number 3 for urban forestry. And I understand your concern or your question regarding the street tree, but that's what we have before us.
So, Mr. Kumar, you were in the middle of a motion.
My concern is there is a street tree. We need to address that issue. Perhaps that'll be addressed anyway in the construction process. I'll withdraw my motion if someone else wants to take a stab at it.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Kumar, what happens in that situation, they'll realize and then they'll work it out between them in terms of the regular urban forestry. So I think it would probably be prudent to impose both conditions, the one by ravines and the one by urban forestry, and they'll sort it all out. That's just my 2 cents. Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to do just that. Move approval of the revised proposal on the grounds that it meets the 4 tests. And that motion would be subject to urban forestry condition 3 and ravine condition number 1.
Danny Bellissimo seconds the motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Okay, last item of the time slot, item number 27, 83 5th Street. This is to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are only 2 variances, and we have nothing before us. We have an arborist report prepared by the property owner, and oh yes, we have in supplemental materials, transportation is advised, and they have no objection. And there are only 2 variances. The speaker is Mirka Kuleszka.
Good afternoon. This is Mirka Kuleszka. I represent the owner, and I'm also with ELAN Design Studio. We designed the body. We request 2 variances.
Yes.
So FSI from 0.6 to 0.7, and reduced front yard setback of 383 instead of required 699. I just wanted to explain that the difference between required setback and the proposed setback stems from the fact that the house next door, 81 Fifth Street and 79, are basically an anomaly on the street. They are setback far more from the street than any other house along the street. Existing 83 Fifth Street house is basically in line with other houses. We actually propose to move it backwards by almost half a meter, so increase the setback.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, is there an urban forestry condition on this one?
Yes, condition 1.
Okay. Ma'am, you're aware of the urban forestry condition?
Oh yeah, of course I am.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, any further?
We actually worked with the owner.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we just wanted to mention that we worked with the owner from the very beginning and set up the arborist to visit and report way ahead of actually COA applications. So absolutely, we are aware of the condition number 1.
Great, thank you. And committee members, any further questions, or is someone ready to make a motion?
Danny Bellissimo is ready to make a motion if there are no further questions. I find it's a variance of very minor nature, especially the front yard setback. I noticed that the side 81 beside this property is set back more than all the other houses, which creates a problem for this house. So I find those variances very minor in nature. Move approval for the variances subject to forestry condition 1.
Thank you, Mr. Bellissimo. Seconder for that, Ms. Alderson. Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you. You have your variances.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, so it's now 5 to 2, and we are adjourned until the 3 p.m. Time slot at 3 p.m. So have a good break, everyone.